Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Bumper to bumper, it's rush hour in the pennant race. The big red machine quits stalling and shifts into high. The Boston Red Sox accelerate power, but can't hit the brakes. The Kansas City Royals avoid head-on disaster in Baltimore. The Chicago Cubs steer a straight course in the clutch. And the Montreal Expos get off the detour, cruising again. Major League headlights and highlights around the bend on This Week in Baseball. Brought to you by Gillette. When it comes to personal grooming, most people come to Gillette, makers of new improved Gillette Track 2. Micro-smooth edges make it a better shave.
Pa, are you sold out of my Gillette Track 2 blades again? Never happened when I ran the store.
These other twin blades will do.
Hogswoggle. Gillette Track 2's micro-smooth blades shave me better.
But these'll fit your Track 2 handle.
Handle schmandle. Gillette Track 2 shaves safer, smoother, and comfortable.
But, Pa...
Guess I buy my Track 2 blades someplace else.
To guys who use Gillette Track 2, no other blade will do.
You don't move mountains, you go through them. And all it takes to carve a tunnel out of a mile of hard rock is steel and sweat and dynamite. Now comes Miller time. Time to head for the best tasting beer you can find. Miller High Life.
If you've got the time, we've got the beer. Miller Beer. Miller Beer.
American League East. Pennant fever has turned to dancing fever in Baltimore, where fans enjoy watching their Orioles hustle ahead of the pack. 12th inning. Doug the Sensei dances off first, Eddie Murray off third. White Sox and Orioles tied 1-1. Watch. Murray steals home as Baltimore steals its 24th one-run victory. But when the Kansas City Royals hit town, they stole the show as well as a few bases. Willie Wilson leads the league's top base-stealing team with 56 in 66 tries. And George Brett continues to lead the league in doubles and triples and totaled hits since the All-Star game, batting .380. Catcher Darrell Porter leads the league with almost 100 walks, also carries a near 300 average, over 80 RBIs, and 10 triples for a team that easily leads the league in free base hits. Meanwhile, in 5 games, Earl Weaver's flock was hitting only 117 with just 19 hits, and Kansas City sure wasn't making things easier. And after all that fine Kansas City picking, The Royals had picked off 3 of 4 from the Orioles, staying within shooting range of California in the American League West. Also still gunning for the top, the Minnesota Twins, who are finally beginning to get some attention when they claim their chances are as good as anyone's of winning in the West.
Well, we're going to have to do the same thing that everybody else is, all the other contenders are going to have to do and haven't done yet, and that is take the pennant away from everybody else. No one has shown any real tendency or predilection to do that yet, and as long as everybody's sitting around waiting for it, it might as well be us as well as anybody else.
To illustrate Smalley's comments, the Twins recently played the Yankees with a record not as good as New York, but the Yankees' role was spoiler, trailing Baltimore by 14 games, while Minnesota's was contender, trailing California by only 3.5. Youngsters like Ken Landreau are keeping Minnesota close. 1 of 5 Twins hitting around 300. Landreau's the only regular in Gene Mauch's outfield platoon.
I appreciate him playing me every day and giving me the opportunity, because I felt I should have had the opportunity in California where I didn't.
After 20 years of managing, Gene Mauch is still seeking his first pennant, but this just might be the year. Watch rookie John Castino's determination on this play. A suicide squeeze on an almost impossible pitch. How about that?
It doesn't matter what people think or say. It doesn't matter what I think or say. It's what the players on the Twins baseball team think. And they think they can play baseball, and they think that they can handle the Western Division, and that's all that really matters.
Jerry Koosman, boasting 16 victories and a good pickoff, teams with Dave Goltz and Jeff Zahn to form an experienced trio of starters. And don't forget about Iron Mike.
Having Mike Marshall with us for the entire year has been a great benefit, not just to the starting pitchers, but to the regular players, because it's given us a winning attitude that we know that when we go into the 7th inning with the lead, that there's a very good chance that we're going to have that at the end of the ball game.
Now, the chances are also improving that the Twins will have that lead at the end of the season. And hoping to claim that lead in the Eastern Division, the Boston Red Sox still pounding out the victories, particularly at Fenway Park, where they're 44-19. Pounding is the only way to describe Fred Lynn, making a scintillating bid for baseball's first Triple Crown in 12 years, leading the league in batting average and homers, while pushing Don Baylor for the RBI crown. At the same time, Jim Rice is close on Lynn's heels in all 3 departments. Fact is, the Red Sox have 2 Triple Crown candidates. That's remarkable. But the competition between the two has gone on since their rookie year in 1975.
It's a little tough this year for me because of the year I had last year. Right now, they're pitching to Fred. I'm not getting the pitches that I normally would get like I got last year. I'm happy for Fred because I know that my home run is going to come, and they're pitching to Fred. Fred can drive in all the runs because I won a ring. I wasn't there in 75. I had a broken finger, and I really hope and I feel this is the year for us.
It's definitely the year for fans to watch baseball's best 1-2 punch stage a classic slugging battle. But whether it's the year for a classic pennant battle may depend on medical reports. Catcher Carlton Fisk re-injured his throwing arm just when he was helping the Red Sox along to their best month of the season. That cast some shadows in Boston. So did a knee injury to second baseman Jerry Ramey, and then also to his replacement, Jack Brohammer. Ted Sizemore was quickly obtained from the Cubs to fill the void, and in his first game went 3 for 3. The Red Sox may still feel shaky in some areas, but not at the plate. Butch Hobson with 21 homers is one of many reasons why the Sox lead the majors in batting average, in homers, in RBIs. Now, if a whole team can win a Triple Crown, why not a pennant? Now, it's time for this week's Volkswagen quiz. Boston's Carl Yastrzemski was the last player to win the Triple Crown. In 1967, Yaz led the Red Sox to a pennant, hitting .326, 44 homers, 121 RBIs. Since 1900, can you name the first player to win the Triple Crown? Stay tuned.
Volkswagen Rabbit really handles. Is that why you're driving it?
Not really.
Well, is it because it can go from 0 to 50 in 8.3 seconds? But then why are you driving a Rabbit?
Because it has more headroom than my Rolls Royce.
Is that such a big deal?
It is. If you will, Chamberlain.
Volkswagen does it again.
The Chicago Cubs last captured the National League flag in 1945. Wrigley Field fans are still looking for the next one 34 years later, as the Cubs do battle in the National League East. It's said the Cubs lose pennants in August, but this is August, and they're still winning, determined to nail down that long-lost flag. Herman Franks has had to live and die by the bullpen phone all season. But lately, ace starter Rick Reuschel has kept him periodically on hold with 5 straight victories, 14 overall. Anything to give Bruce Sutter an occasional break, even if it means pitching to one less batter. Sutter has 32 saves, only 6 away from the Major League record. On offense, Ivan DeJesus gets things going. While hitting .280, he leads the club in walks and stolen bases. With 5 straight August victories, the Cubs are hardly hibernating. Steve Dillard has the team's hottest bat. After taking over second base for the now-traded Ted Sizemore, Dillard hit .513 during an 11-game stretch with 4 homers and 14 RBIs. Jerry Martin is one of many consistent Cub hitters who continues to send outfielders and even birds scattering around Wrigley Field. Rookie Scott Thompson's hitting .330 while platooning with Mike Bale. With more at-bats, Thompson would be right in the middle of this year's batting race. As for the Cubs in the Eastern Division race, the future is now. 4 games out is not too far to dream when the fans could do nothing but dream for 34 years. On the other hand, the Montreal Expos are proving that flying a pennant in Canada is no longer a pipe dream, not when they're only 2 games out. The Expos turned an August slump around by running off 5 straight wins. Spaceman Bill Lee helped straighten things out with his 11th victory. So did ace Steve Rogers, who also won his 11th. The Expos' latest win streak improved their home one-loss record to 41-18. Right fielder Ellis Valentine continues to play well, batting in the 280s with 19 homers and 67 RBIs. Center fielder Andre Dawson carries similar numbers, 18 homers and 68 RBIs. Catcher Gary Carter also provides power. His 17th homer helped the Expos complete a sweep over the Braves. But top contenders need team help. Although losing his second base job to Rodney Scott, Dave Cash has still managed to hit .400 with limited playing time. Pinch hitting in the bottom of the ninth, Cash settles a 1-1 deadlock with Atlanta. Looks like both Montreal and Chicago promise to keep the heat on Pittsburgh in the National League East. And in the National League West, the Cincinnati Reds have finally started to put some real heat on front-running Houston, sparked by Tom Seaver's 10 straight wins. In fact, John McNamara's crew won 22 of its first 34 after the All-Star break to cut the gap to a game and a half. Newcomers like Dave Collins help keep Cincinnati moving. But it's the experience of veterans like Joe Morgan that could make the big difference in the stretch. Certainly, the bat of George Foster back in the starting lineup after a full month's absence should make a big difference. It's remarkable how well the Reds survived during the injury to their top RBI man. Johnny Bench contributed by taking up the power slack. And though Reds' power has been curtailed this season, Reds' pitching has throttled the opposition. And now Cincinnati is winning the close ones. Dave Concepcion beats the Mets with a ninth-inning double, a series in which the Reds took 3 straight one-run decisions. Looks like that old Big Red machine means business. Now, back to this week's Volkswagen quiz, brought to you by the 79 Rabbit, Dasher, and Scirocco. Volkswagen does it again. In 1901, the Philadelphia Athletics' Nat Lajoie became the first player in this century to win the Triple Crown, batting .422 with 14 homers and 125 RBIs.
Gillette Track 2, please.
Sold out again. Say, you look like a double-edged man to me. Daring, unafraid.
No, the Gillette Track 2 gives me a more comfortable shave.
Maybe it's an injector you crave. Shaves close.
Yeah, but Track 2 shaves closer.
Yeah, but...
Sorry.
To guys who use a twin-blade Gillette Track 2, no single blade will do.
Gillette Track 2, please.
How do you spell relief?
When I get acid indigestion, I spell relief R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Rolaids spells relief. Clinical tests prove with Rolaids you get relief Tums can't beat. That's right, relief Tums can't beat. In fact, relief no other leading antacid can beat. How do you spell relief?
For heartburn? I know. R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Relief no other leading antacid can beat.
Ever felt they're out to drive you crazy at the ballpark? Well, managers sure have, because this can be a pretty crazy game. What looks like an out becomes a hit, then becomes an out. What looks like a walk becomes a strikeout. That's correct, pal. You're out. O-U-T. Out at bat and out of the game. Yes, in baseball, it's easy to be both down and out. Then there's the question of what's fair or foul. After all, what is really fair? Well, that is and so is that. In baseball, you never know if a player wants to handle his own problems or if he'd prefer to pass them on to a friend. Here, you take it. Who, me? One thing a player can count on is always having a teammate to back up his mistakes. Well, almost always. Well, if teammates won't always back a guy up, at least the wall will. Walls won't stop every ball, but they will stop every player from going too far. Or will they? A new man in the bullpen. Now, how about this? The umpire asks the player if he caught the ball, and he says no. Home run. If the game doesn't drive a manager crazy, sooner or later his players will. But one thing that can ease a manager's nerves is a good trade, especially during the season. The Pittsburgh Pirates felt they made a good one when they got shortstop Tim Foley from the Mets. Not only has Foley solidified the infield, he's surprisingly hit near 300. The Bucks knew they were getting a hitter when they picked up Bill Madlock from the Giants, and since his arrival, he's hit .315. After acquiring Madlock and Foley, the Pirates made their move into first place in the National League East. Trying to keep pace, the Montreal Expos picked up Rusty Staub from Detroit, a veteran who gives valuable experience and reserve power for the pennant stretch. Soon after reliever Dick Tidrow was traded by the Yankees to the Cubs, Chicago moved into contention with Pittsburgh and Montreal. Tidrow's 10-3 record has given Bruce Sutter a needed bullpen rest. Though Willie Montanez was suffering a miserable slump with the Mets, the Texas Rangers were thinking about his past record when they picked him up recently to bolster their attack. And the Rangers also got center fielder Mickey Rivers in a surprise trade with the Yankees. Despite the obvious talents of Mick the Quick and Montanez, neither deal has moved Texas any closer to first in the American League West. However, the Cincinnati Reds have moved closer to the top of the National League West, and Paul Blair, another former Yankee, has helped with his expert glove work. Back in the American League, veteran shortstop Bert Campaneris has helped the Angels modestly since coming from Texas, particularly when a good bunt or daring base running is needed to shake up a defense. Finally, Bob Watson of the Red Sox, who's really shaken up American League pitching since arriving from Houston in mid-June, hitting .345 with 12 homers and 42 RBIs to help keep the Sox near the top. Of course, Boston is thankful it made that trade, and really thankful it has a center fielder as talented as Fred Lynn, the recipient of this week's Gillette Special. You know, even if the man never hit much, he'd still have a big league job because of his spectacular glove. With an average of .347, Fred Lynn is the major's leading hitter. In 8 games, he batted .556, extended his hitting streak to 20 games, blasted 5 homers to give him 36, drove in 14 runs for an overall total of 105. A strong candidate for the Triple Crown. Congratulations, Fred. And we'll see you next week, folks, on This Week in Baseball.
Here's a reminder, it's English leather or nothing at all.
English leather cologne for men.